Jack Perry back on the scene here in All Elite Wrestling. We can only assume that's what that handshake, that embrace meant.
Absolutely. Tony smiled.
Oh, my God!
What the?
To quote the brothers in the tournament in White Men Can't Jump, this is too easy. No. This is too easy. We are too good at predicting things. If you listen to this show, you know how good we are at predicting things. Let me ask you, did the top of wrestling run through your mind when Tony Khan came out and took a bump on Wednesday night? Because I knew that the first thing. I'm like, wow, we called that. And I believe O.D.M., and that's my intro to you today, your text was, and we are right on time.
Yep. Fucking nailed it. It's like this shit writes itself.
It's horrible and awesome. And we're going to get into that. There's a lot we will be talking about today. Plus, we got some news. Most of it's about Tony. Bring it to the table. Reliving the Monday Night Wars, because this week, Lil Nate is in full action. Not wrestling, but dear God, I didn't know the guy could cut a promo. Not like this. I'm excited to talk about that this week. Raw was on fire, and it's the aftermath of the unholy wedding between Undertaker and Stephanie, her second relationship at this point. And plus our topic that we're going to be talking about today, our movie, is the cap off of the trilogy that is the Breaking Bad series, which is the El Camino movie. I promise it probably won't take that long. But O.D.M., I believe it was you that actually had messaged me. I didn't even get to watch it at that point live. You had either texted me a picture or whatever it was, and you said, we're right on time. And this is a picture of Tony Khan. I think the picture you sent was the Melcher driver, which most devastating Melcher driver of all time, where it busts open the pants of Nikki Jackson. His panties are showing in the background. Thought that was great.
It's so great.
A soft microphone cover over what is a plastic part of a microphone. Those are never really metal. And the rest of it, I don't know what the fuck a microphone is really made of out of mechanisms, but that little tap to Tony Khan's gut from Jungle Goat dropped Tony like he had kidney stones. And it was horrible. The funniest thing is the picture that we'll never take credit for anything on here, but the meme that everybody has seen is, so this is how Okada got his contract in AEW. And it's where they're about to do the, what is their super
BTE trigger, or EVP trigger, they call it now. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the GA. Yeah, anyway, I'm not a fan of, that's why I can't remember their shit. But I really love the memes that everybody's made out of this. There's been some good shit. Not only did he took the Melcher driver, then the faces come out, all the faces from the back of the locker room, which was not many. And then you see Shaka Khan, or Papa Khan come out.
Papa Khan.
Ooh.
Papa Khan.
He comes out, and my favorite thing is, I don't even know who it was. I think it was maybe one of the private party guys, something. Just had one of the funniest looks on his face, like, oh, shit, you're here? And then I think it was like maybe Anna Jay had a full-blown smile in the background through the whole thing. I was like, oh my God, this is horrible. It's like when Vince went to go get himself blown up in the limousine and Paul London was just given that giant-ass smile and was let go the next day.
Yep.
So I don't even understand where we go from here. I think this is their way of, solidifying using the all-in footage. But are you trying to do a big movement, like a big thing, kind of like, Austin did to Vince by stunning him? Or, Christ, it's not, Nash giving the powerbomb to Eric Bischoff at Great American Bash.
It's not, but it's what he wants.
Yeah, it's funny you say that because Eric Bischoff said if SNL were to have produced a skit on the time that Hall and Nash did what they did at Great American Bash, he goes, it would have looked like just exactly what they did right there.
Correct.
He goes, it was a parody. And I was like, oh my God, it's hysterical. I tried not to listen to anybody's words or anybody's podcast or anything about it because I wanted to have our own genuine sense on it. Like I said, we called it. We said he's going to be a character. He's going to be something on screen at some point. I believe one of us, I'm sure, said how long until he takes his first wrestling bump. First one was at 7.
He has been noted to take bumps, huh?
Bump for you, bump for me. And me. Okay.
Yeah.
Now you.
2 for me.
So what's funny about this is that you're making the EVPs who are heels and Jungle Boy, who is a heel, do this to Tony. So you're saying that you're the face in this whole situation. Right? That's kind of what you're doing. Tony's trying to make himself look like he is the face of this whole thing and poor him. Now, Kenny Omega is supposed to show up tonight on Dynamite. His first time back, and it's in Winnipeg. I'm sure it's going to be something vengeful about, that's my moneymaker. That's my sugar daddy. The funnier thing for me is what happened the next day. Because, this all emanated from Jacksonville at Daly's place, which, by the way, I miss the older days of when they used to be in Daly's place. I'm not sure what they're trying to hide. Were there not many people at this show? Because they showed like 40, 50 people in total throughout the whole night. Just the one rafter across from the ring, and that was it. Sounded like there was people there. I don't. But the next day was the NFL draft. And Tony shows up in a fucking neck brace. You know who called it? Conrad Mark Boy.
Oh, wow.
He
is a Mark Boy.
He goes,
he's that boy.
He is. He asked Eric, he goes, do you think he shows up at the draft like with a neck brace? You kind of have to if you're trying to selling it, right? And I guess there's NFL crews or what's that show that does HBO or whatever?
Inside the NFL.
One of them is,
something like that, yeah.
One of them is following Tony around this season.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, good. That'll be fun to watch.
They're following him around the draft, which makes you wonder. This has to be. He obviously did it just for that reason.
Oh,
because now they're going to be like, Shad Khan was on a wrestling show the other day because his son fucking got his ass beat, and there he is in the draft room with wearing a neck brace. It can't be.
Let me say this: Papa Khan's face when he came out said, "What the fuck are we doing with my money?"
The still of his face is the greatest thing I think we've seen since we've done this show. That picture is so great. I was just looking it up while we were talking, just to see if I had any pictures with like notes and stuff. And goddamn, I had to stop myself from giggling. It is fucking great. It's hilarious.
It's funny you say that because I was going to do that for you earlier. Here, that's my background now, just for you. He looks like as if like Mario went all the way to the very end of the game and found out the princess never was actually taken. He just looks so pissed
I'd make a
off.
Simpsons reference, but you're not going to get it. Yeah, he looks like the Hav Halash guy.
I won't.
So
the neck brace thing, it made me laugh, but yeah. Oh, go ahead, please.
I'm just trying to make sense of this. I'm going to say something now. I almost made it my bring it to the table, but I'm not going to lie, man. I agree with everything that you said. This is terrible. It's a parody of itself, not only WCW. And I like how Shivani says, I was there. It's not the same thing. You're right. It's not the same thing. This is worse. But I got to tell you, man. I got to tell you. I got a confession to make. It's like a bad car accident. I might tune in to Dynamite just to see how terrible this is going to be. It's like being a big fan of shitty horror movies. Like this is like I'm like sold because it's like this is so bad. This is so bad. And I don't want to report on watching clips on YouTube and reading people's opinions. I want to watch it for myself just so I can write shtick about it because that's how bad it is.
Wow. I feel sorry for you and the time that you have. I'm begging you to watch Ozark, and you're like, I'm going to watch the shittiest wrestling show that's out there every week.
Well, I decided to watch SVU now. No, I'm just kidding. So let's.
Christ.
All right. So Omega's coming back.
Mm-hmm.
I called Pac as a partner.
Yeah,
and I think that's a good call.
MJF, which we have talked about, is apparently out for quite some time, unless they're just using some kayfabe type rumors. If they are, but it seems like he's out a little longer than expected.
I think, unfortunately, because I mean, you got to have 4-on-4, right? And hopefully, oh my God, what if Tony wrestles a match? Oh my God, I didn't even think about that.
Wait, stop! I didn't even think about that part. But wait, because we're gonna have to come back to that. Who's the fourth?
We only got 2. I said Omega, and then there's Pac, and I have a bad feeling they're gonna fucking shoot.
No, I'm saying on the EVPs. It's just the EVPs and Jungle Douche
and Okada.
Oh,
yeah.
I figure maybe Okada would maybe have something else on his own and didn't have to be a part of this, but okay.
No, he's going to be. So you're going to have 4-on-4. Even if they don't do a 4-on-4 match, it's got to be 4 versus 4 because Tony's fucking crazy, right? So you got Pac
I'm seeing
and
in
Omega.
my head right now is Tony wearing like a fucking, what do you call it? Like a onesie in the ring, like a tighted onesie, and he's going to get in there fighting, and he's going to look like Mrs. Dad did with his dukes up.
Oh, God, it's going to be terrible. You know what's going to happen.
You shouldn't have put that vision in my head.
I think they're going to shoehorn Page in because he's got history with him. So taking Tony Khan out of it, who would be the fourth if they were to put a fourth wrestler in there? So Omega, Pac, Page. That's my call.
No, there's not Page. Page is heel. Page is heel. He's got that mustache.
Well, you know, Bick or Schick or Harry's. Not a sponsor, any of them.
Man, I mean, it's not Joe, not Swerve, maybe Swerve, your champion. Yeah, because he actually but no, why I say that is because he actually made a fucking comment on Dynamite or Collision, opened up the thing, and he was like, I'm for my boss, I love my, or whatever, shtick like that.
Shtick.
Prime.
I know exactly who it's going to be.
Oh.
Orange.
Oh, jeez.
This shit writes itself. Calling it.
Yeah, this will be... I'm just going to move on. You know what? Tony, I like that... No, I don't like it. Let me back that up. I don't like that he likes to take digs.
Yeah.
Every 5 seconds. Pick the ones... Because when you do and they land, it's sick. When you do one weekly, lose all of its flavor, every bit that you can to it.
This ain't Randy Poffo in Memphis.
I don't understand the reference unless it's kind of in terms towards the Janelle Grant case. But, and I am going to quote read what Tony Khan said to... I believe it was ESPN or the NFL Network, one or the other. I think it was
it was ESPN, I believe.
Okay. We are the Pepsi of pro wrestling. Stop right there. I already got to stop right there. That's funny, considering the fact of Phil having the old Pepsi logo on his arm. That's good shit. But we are the Pepsi of pro wrestling. AEW is up against a really evil juggernaut, the WWE. And the WWE is the Harvey Weinstein of pro wrestling. So you're saying the entire company only lets you work there. I mean, I get the boss part, but I mean, like, it's 98% male dominated as your roster. So are you saying everybody laid there and let Vince shit on their face? I just wish one time there would be someone that would take a dump on my chest.
Cleveland Stammer.
Just a weird thing to say on such a national type platform. And if you watch, the announcers are like, okay, so you got a neck brace on.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. That's the best part. They had to reel his ass back in. Hey, Tony, switch to beer. It's a lot less expensive than Coke, and, well, maybe the booking will be better.
Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. I mean, I've seen things alcoholics have done. Why I did read a very interesting interview from Yota Tsuji, and he said that he found it, and many people in New Japan found it, disrespectful that right after Moxley wins his world championship, the Butterfly Championship, it's being defended at Daly's place against Powerhouse Hobbs for no reason whatsoever. That's not how this championship is built.
Yeah.
He said, like, for what reason is it? There's no... what has Hobbs ever done that makes him have a reason to go after the New Japan Championship?
Exactly.
It shouldn't have even been... It should have been promoted heavier. You did it on a spur on a Wednesday night.
Right. No, I agree.
Maybe it was 1 week in advance at best, but still.
Has Moxley defended it in New Japan yet?
No.
Has he been on any other shows than the pay-per-view that he won it at in New Japan?
Dude, he hasn't even been to Japan yet. He
Yeah.
won it
and came right back
in
home.
America.
Oh, that's right. It was
he
in
won
Chicago.
fucking
It was in Chicago. Yeah. You're right. Yeah. Well, there you go then. That's even more reason. Yeah. This is the title that when it's on the line at a pay-per-view, which it's only ever on the line at a pay-per-view, and they put up on the screen the lineage of the title and everybody that's won it. Because it means something.
Do you think his picture is going to be bloody?
Oh, yeah. Well, yes. Yes, I do. Unfortunately.
He's bloody when he won it.
Yeah. Should we just start calling him the
And I don't mean
tampon?
bloody bad. I'm telling you, man. I should have yelled it a little louder to him at Battle in the Valley. Well, AEW is not only doing fantastic in their ratings, but also... Oh, by the way, Tony got his ass kicked in front of 620,000 or some shit like that. That's it for a rating. That's what you did that in front of. By the way, when Austin did the stunner and when all that... Fucking Eric was at least on a pay-per-view. Austin doing the stunner was in Madison Square Garden. It was a fucking moment in weeks and weeks of build-up with Vince.
Mm-hmm.
I'll digress there, but their ticket sales are doing fantastic. Whatever they reported last year for All In, 41,000 are sold so far for Wembley. I know, it's going to be May this week, and then we're going to be looking at into August. It's the end of August. They haven't named anything yet for it. I'm still heavily saying it's Danielson and McGuinness.
I hope you're right.
Even during the Ospreay match, McGuinness could not stop saying shit about him. I know my shit. I got one for you.
Sure.
Why did Darby Allin cross the road?
To get a 5-star rating from Meltzer?
That's a good one. Do you think he rated him on that? Holy shit.
You like that?
Hit by a bus to get a rating.
Well, he had to outdo his fucking
Tony threw him.
Yeah, he had to outdo his fucking window spot or window glass pane from the pay-per-view. So,
did you ever watch House of Cards?
No. What's his name? Kaiser Soze.
Kevin Spacey.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just saying there's a part where he throws this person in front of a fucking train to kill him. I'm like, that was Tony.
Oh.
He's like,
Yeah.
and boom,
Here we
5-star
go.
rating. Thank
More
you.
ratings.
Thank you, Darby.
So this motherfucker's supposed to climb Everest, breaks his foot, he can't do it, then he gets hit by a bus.
How bad do you want out of that AEW contract, man? Well, Nick Nemeth won the AAA World title, which I assumed he was going to.
Yeah.
Against Alberto Del Paltrone. And it's funny because the pictures you see are very limited, but the picture, I don't know who the chick is.
Me neither. I was just going to ask you.
She looks like Daisy De La Hoya. You ever remember that show? It was on VH1, Daisy with Love. She was originally on the Rock of Love one with Bret Michaels. She looks like her. And what she would look like right now in life. All like droopy with all the Botox.
Mm-hmm.
I'll give the shout out to Buster on this one. Drew McIntyre re-signing with WWE gets a gift from The Rock. Did you get to see this one?
I'm the one who put it in the notes.
You did. Thought maybe you. I said, did you get to see it?
Yes, I did see it. That's why I put it in there.
Way to play with kayfabe here, pal.
Fuck you, Buster.
Give and take. I ask a,
Fuck you, Buster.
I ask a question. Wow. I didn't mean it like Buster brought this up because you're too fucking dumb. I meant it as in, hey, thanks for the lookout, bro. Buster will pay you O.D.M. salary this week.
Yeah, you can have it. You can actually have double it. How about that?
But do you want to talk about what he gifted him?
Try me again.
Do you want to talk about what The Rock gifted? What did you quit listening for 4 seconds?
No, my thing came unplugged. Plugged my home headphones back in.
Oh, okay.
Dude, I think we said it. I think we said it. MFT. Well, at first you said it marriage family therapist or whatever the fuck it was. And then I said it's probably MFing something, motherfucking something. And you're like, motherfucking Tonga?
I did.
Fucking nailed it.
Yeah.
That's it.
Nick Khan, last part of this. Well, you might as well take this one because this is.
Yeah, I saw. So, I mean, there was two things. Vince McMahon officially sold his remaining shares in TKO. He is no longer affiliated in any way with WWE or TKO. He's out for the first time since fucking buying the promotion from his father. It is officially the Paul Levesque era. You could have said it was the Nick Khan era because you saw him at WrestleMania when Cody won the title. But Nick Khan has filed to sell all of his shares in TKO. What?
And I think as soon as you had sent this to me, I automatically replied. I said, dude, what if he tags up with Vince and they just go start a new promotion?
They could.
And what did you say? And you said they're going to buy over another promotion.
They could buy another promotion,
and
yeah.
The name on the contract did say Khan. Jesus Christ, if we go back to 2000. Oh, my God.
I told you! If that happens, we're done. We're done. We're just going to do the wars, and that's it.
Wait, 96, 97, 98, 99.
That's 2001.
2001. So that's 6 years. AEW has been in business for 5 now. Oh, my God. I swear to God, if Nick Khan comes out on TV and says that he's the new owner, I may have to start watching it more.
It would be the best thing to happen to AEW. Just for
I don't know about that.
Just for the allure.
Well,
it
actually,
can't get any worse.
You know what? I was just gonna say, let's break down what's happened here. And look at kayfabe to y'all. You know, we had to adjust on how we're recording nowadays. Releasing still every Wednesday because that's what we do. It's Wild Wacky Wednesday, baby. We bring it out no matter what. But we had to adjust when we're recording. So Raw is going to be more diluted and not really talked about as much, if you get the drift. So look at Dynamite last week and Collision, but horrible audio issues on Dynamite itself. And Tony is blaming it on TBS. He's saying that it was something up on their end. You send the signal to them. They just let it go.
Yeah, that's why you have a
Everyone
production
doing the
truck
work
there.
inside of your truck. Exactly. Did someone run their head into it like Mysterio?
Or the mental patients, which we'll get to later.
Oh my God, that was fantastic. Nope, we're not talking about 2024. So,
Yet.
your new AEW champion last week wins the World Championship from Samoa Joe. This week, Swerve Strickland defeats Kyle Fletcher in a world title eliminator match. By the way, Kyle Fletcher hasn't won any matches in AEW to have a world title eliminator match. That would have been your Powerhouse Hobbs match if you want to give him something. And then he defended the title against Claudio in a 30-minute match on Saturday night on Collision.
Two things real quick. One, Cornette calls him Kyle Felcher. Love it. Fucking hilarious. Gross. The reason they're doing this is transparent, and I'll say why. I saw something online, somebody made a comparison. And it was obviously an AEW Mark page that I saw it on. Cody has had the title for 3 weeks, 1 defense. Swerve's had it for a week, and he's had 3 defenses.
Yeah, well, also, Cody doesn't even know how to hold the title, okay?
He knows how to hold it just right. It's just 3 times too big.
The thing that clips around your waist is supposed to go on your shoulder. That's more acceptable to people, but the way he holds it in one hand is fucking ridiculous to some.
I dig it.
I hate AEW, Marks. I love it. You know what? I haven't seen something like this in a long time from AEW. Chris Jericho started a stable. This is called the Learning Tree, where you could be under him, and I don't know, he'll be the bird on the top of the tree that just shits down on you. And Big Bill had nothing else going on because maybe they're going to try to do something with Ricky Starks, or maybe Starks is injured. I don't know. But Big Bill said, fuck it. I'll be under your learning tree. I'll be your Jake Hager. Huh? I did give some time to watch a little something in particular because I was a fan of Santana and Ortiz taking on the Best Friends in the parking lot brawl. Because as much as we could shit on the Best Friends, they actually put up a really good fight in that parking lot brawl. And Chuck Taylor and Trent Beretta, former friends, now enemies, had a parking lot brawl on Rampage. Again, man, they put Santana and Ortiz on Rampage, and then you put Chuck and Trent on Rampage. Minimum Dynamite. Maximum would have been save that shit for a pay-per-view. Those guys have been together since day one of even long before AEW even had their first show or pay-per-view.
Mm-hmm. Right result.
Got pretty bloody.
Yeah, right result. 4 years too late.
Yes, which is Trent Beretta winning, by the way, if you don't know who that
was.
was.
Yeah, my bad, yeah.
You said right result. No, it's okay, because I don't know if I'd mentioned it. Also on Dynamite, Will Ospreay won a gauntlet match to now face Roderick Strong for his international championship. You know what? I'm okay with it if you want to make Roddy the transitional champ and give that to Will, because if you do Will and Shane Strickland, well, I always want to call him Shane, but if you go Swerve and Will too early, you're fucked. If you want to do it even at AEW's All In, I still think it might even be too early if you want to do this, if you're wanting to keep both guys strong. So right now, international championship is okay for Ospreay for me.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. And the problem is, and I mean, I guess this doesn't apply to AEW because they have no sensibility when it comes to this kind of thing. But I mean, do you really want Ospreay versus Swerve? I'm sure it'd be a good match, but it's face versus face. I mean,
yeah,
you know. So again, I mean, my thing is, hopefully, let's just play, you know, the wishy-washy game, which is what we always do. Hopefully, MJF comes back, takes the title away from Swerve, and then you've got MJF Ospreay, which I think would be that could be a legitimate top of wrestling 10-point match.
Maybe if they do it properly and they go, oh shit, we have too many championships. And
that ain't happening.
Well, hang on. At one point, WWE did have too many, and they started merging a lot together back in 2001.
Yeah, well, they're back at where they were.
Yeah, not as bad. How many titles are on the men's division for Raw?
2 sets
You
of
got your
tags,
world
2
champ
sets
tags.
of worlds.
No, one for Raw, one for SmackDown. That's fine. I'm saying that's different shows if they're divided.
Meh.
Okay, getting off track.
Yeah.
Right now, Okada is your 7th best champion with he's the Continental Champion.
Continental.
So
yes.
I would take the Continental and International Championship and put those guys together at Wembley and merge the championships. Ospreay, Okada. And this time, Ospreay can maybe get the right amount of attendance on his arm.
Or maybe just not get that kind of tattoo again.
God, that's such a good one. Mercedes Moné and Willow Bertha Faye, they had a face-off with a really crappy promo in the ring. Yo, that's all Mercedes does. Each one gets worse and worse and worse. She talks like shit.
And I am the boss.
No, CEO.
Oh, that's right. And I am the CEO.
Her calling herself the CEO is like every time that someone left WWE before AEW existed, and they would say, "Oh my God, this guy's showing up in the Impact Zone," except it'd be like Zolf Diggler, right? Like changing the name just enough. Oh my God, what's Zolf Diggler doing in the Impact Zone? And I feel like that's exactly what she is with her name change with the CEO. It's just she just carried that boss moniker over in the only way she could. She's like, well, I can't keep that going from WWE, but I can keep every other crappy part of myself alive. All right, well, hey, remember last week when I mentioned that Uncle Douche, he said that Trick Williams is not really that good? Well, Shawn Michaels and Triple H thought so. They made him the NXT champion the day we recorded last week, so suck it, Dave.
Yep.
It's funny because I did read something and I'm like, oh, it's kind of true. It sucks to see that Trick beat Ilya Dragunov in like a 15-minute match, but it took him like 45 to beat Walter. You know, and it's like, and I'm like, I get it, I do get it, and wrestling can be different, but it's just choose your battles, I guess. So I'm like, but I think it should have been someone maybe a little bit bigger or stronger or something that got Ilya just to make him look stronger. But
no, that makes sense.
You may have mentioned this. I think now that not Ludwig, Giovanni is gone, I think you put Dragunov right in Imperium. I think him, Kaiser, and Gunther would be perfect together.
So people have been talking about this online, and unfortunately something came up where I saw the headline. I was ready to click on the story, and I got interrupted, so I never. But Gunther has some words on it because he was asked about it. So there's a statement out there from Gunther about Ilya possibly joining Imperium. I'm not against it because you could always work the implosion angle where you get Gunther or Ilya too on the main roster.
Yeah. Three technically.
Well, 3. Yeah, yes.
I'm absolutely okay with that. And it could also be you're worthy of being Imperium because you're the only man that could put my shoulders on the mat at that time.
Right.
But if you want to be Imperium, you got to take out the guy that took me out, Sami Zayn. Boom. Oh, my God. Writes itself. Ah. Ricochet is your new speed champ. Sorry, Samantha Irvin.
Why? I didn't even know they had a title. Is this the new 24/7 title?
Basically, it's defended on X. It's recorded like Monday nights or Tuesday nights, and it's aired Wednesdays at noon. It's bullshit because who's watching that when this shit's going on? You know what I mean? You got the top of wrestling at the time. You'd be a fucking fool to watch that. Ricochet's already on Mondays.
The new Wednesday Night
funny,
Wars?
Well, it's funny, yeah. Wednesday afternoon wars. Well, they're both at noon. The Wednesday noon wars. Oh, shit.
There you go.
I'm going to start hashtagging our shit WWE speed.
Not a bad idea.
The draft was the biggest fucking letdown since, well, if you're a Bills fan and you waited around on Thursday night for the NFL draft.
Oh, that was hilarious.
I assume you were smart enough and had a life. The old drummer from my fucking Foo Fighter band, who's like a distant, long-ass cousin of mine, he goes, "Oh, the Bills didn't even draft. That was 3.5 hours of my life wasted." Why and how in the fuck did you waste 3.5 hours? You knew what number they were drafting at. It wasn't 1 through 20, whatever.
Well, it could be a trade.
You had... Yeah, someone's going to go, would
way.
you like the first fucking pick, Bills? Would you like to take the first pick today?
Come on now.
No, that's my fucking point. The point is that you were never going to get them in the first 20-something picks. You knew the first 2 hours were jack all anyway. It was just people who wasted their time on that.
I was at Wheezy's, and it was on in the background. We kept tuning in, and after the first trade, I go, watch, they're going to trade this one too, and then it happened, and I couldn't stop laughing.
Well, and I'm okay with that kind of stuff, okay, with having it in the background. I'm saying, like, when you're like, that's what you did for 3.5 hours at night, Jesus Christ. I watched wrestling that night. Actually, I will tell you exactly what I watched that night. Kobashi versus Misawa, number 7. They're one that is like their highest rated, well, unfortunately by Meltzer, but their most popular one from 2003. Mm-hmm. I don't know, either guy really stands after being dropped on their fucking head with all that weight. It's just,
yeah,
it was a good thing to throw back on. But getting back into current time, Cody and Carmelo was newly drafted with this draft, and that was the only one that was of note that was big for anybody going, right? And they had a match that was set up for later that night. Other than that, Randy Orton from SmackDown was drafted to SmackDown. Ricochet from Raw was drafted to Raw. Basically, everybody stayed put. I'd rather you just not tell me anything at all.
Yep. Baron Corbin went to SmackDown. I saw that.
Yes, and what's his name? Braun Breaker went to Raw.
Right.
I was trying to figure out his partner. There's a couple things, right? But it's nothing notable,
no.
man. Nothing will ever be as good as, well, man, the time they said Triple H was leaving Evolution and going to SmackDown, and it was like reverse the next morning, but that was a huge one. But when John Cena came over from SmackDown with the World Championship, the very first time, that was huge. When you had guys crossing over, it was big. Their first pick, SmackDown's very first fucking pick, was Bianca Belair.
Man.
And Raw's first pick was Jey Uso. Both of them just retained their normal people. Wouldn't you go, who do they have that I didn't have that I could use on my roster? I didn't like it. It was a horrible... So like I said, if you're a Bills fan and a WWE draft fan, you were likely disappointed 2 nights in a row.
Right. There you go.
So, complete dud, but the other thing that was a dud was watching the main event match between Carmelo Hayes and Cody. Did you see them attempt to do this
I didn't
weird
see
double
it yet.
cutter botch?
No, you told me about it. I haven't seen it yet.
I can't explain it other than a double cutter botch. One went one side of the ring, one went to the other. They both jumped, but at completely different times. Mello was like on the ground when Cody was like just starting to like jump off of the rope.
It's a dumb move anyway.
I don't know what they were trying to do.
It's a dumb move anyway.
It is, and he never hits it. Well, as we talked about, less of a little bit about Raw moving forward. That's what you got from us. But we did find out on SmackDown, because the one good thing is you did see that they had different war rooms or, draft rooms. And the Dudleys were split up. One was on Raw, one was SmackDown. JBL was in one room. And there was this one guy, who the fuck is this guy with a long goatee? I can't really figure out who it is. And then they go, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to name your next draft picks, Teddy Long. And I go, holy shit, that was Teddy Long. His goat is fucking long. Like, I didn't recognize him when he was in the draft room. Holla, playa, does his thing. And then Nick Aldis in the back announces, at Backlash, we're going to have Bayley defending her title in a triple threat against Tiffany Stratton and Naomi. And, well, who else? Who's better than the original to name this next match? And Teddy announces, and it pans over, you see Teddy, and he announces the tag team match, because that's what he's known for, is his tag team match, for Solo and Tama taking on Owens and Orton. both matches going to be taking place in France at Backlash. It was cool to see Teddy. I miss Teddy. I actually didn't mind him anytime he was on SmackDown. That reminds me of like the 2008, 2009 era, like when I had my apartment and I was always DVRing SmackDown because I was really fucking into it. I liked him at that time. Everybody was on there. Just started to fall off. It's not good without Teddy.
Yeah. Player.
A lot of things in life. Well, I got a treat for you this week at the table.
Just bring it, bitch! Oh my God!
I'm just going to go ahead and let him kick it off. Hey, here he is. It's been a minute. Go.
Nobody in the whole building but us, Nightwing.
Wing.
Eh?
It's Nightwing.
Really? Huh. Guess I was thinking of that goofy mullet you used to have. Yeesh, that was like a whole decade of bad hair days.
This is such good shit!
Hey, what's going on, Top of Wrestling? I know it's been a while, but it's Nightwing. I'm here. I just want to just mention something real quick. Can we really have a conversation about how Dave Meltzer is really losing his credibility in wrestling? Like, I mean, I know he has been in New Japan and a Young Bucks, guy for a long time, and basically as long as you're not WWE, you got a 5-star match. I don't care if you come in the ring and freaking play with your private parts in front of everybody, but Dave Meltzer is just losing all of his credibility to me. It's like he can't say anything good about WWE product. I mean, WrestleMania was great. There's been great shows leading up to it. What Triple H is doing is absolutely great, and all he wants to sit over there and just freaking cock ride the Bucks and AEW all the time, and I'm just kind of getting a little irritated with it. Every freaking other day is just something degrading that he has to say about anything that is not AEW. So I guess, is he finally on the payroll? Is that what we're looking at now? Because it definitely seems like that is what Dave Meltzer is doing. Y'all have a nice one.
Oh, yeah, man. Man, that's Black on the show. Welcome, Black. Welcome back. Missed you, Nightwing. It's good to hear your voice, man. And you know what? I'm glad you said all the same shit that, I was kind of alluding to, but I didn't bring that up. I was really bitching a couple weeks ago about the Meltzer rating system. And, he gave 6.5 out of 5 to Danielson and Ospreay. That's still, mathematically it doesn't make sense, but I who am I? But you're very right. He does not give any love to WWE. I know I did touch about how he rated the main event of Cody and Roman, but you're right, man. I mean, a lot of things could have been rated a lot better by Dave, and it's like he barely even watched WrestleMania. Like he wasn't even there. Moxley said that he was asleep in his hotel room, and that's why he didn't. When his Shield music hit,
Yep.
He said, "Yeah, I was asleep during that whole time." People were all messaging him like, "Is it you? Was it you?" I thought Dean was going to be
Dean?
there. Fuck you, bitch. Yeah. Good to hear from you, Nightwing. Please drop back more often, brother.
He's black?
Why not? Worked in Blazing Saddles. Do you want to take the honors?
Yeah, I got a quick one. I thought about a lot of things, and I figured I'd just bring them up on the show, so I just got a funny quick story. I was at Wegmans the other day. I was getting in my car, ready to leave, and I hear some squawking going on in the distance, and I look over. There's some lady walking through the parking lot. And she's just like,
No.
"You suck at driving. You suck at driving." And I'm like, oh, shit, something's about to go down. That bitch ratchet. And then she kind of fucking went out of frame. I couldn't see her. She was walking behind the car, and I'm like, I ain't going to stick around for this. And I get in the car. I turn on the car. Song comes on the radio. Do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do. It was Cult of Personality.
Nice.
And I just started cackling because all I could think of was the intro from the other day. It was good
I'm not your
timing.
bro,
I was like,
pal.
yeah! I almost opened the window and started chanting CM Punk.
I'm not going to lie. When you said you heard loud cackling, I
Oh,
thought it
no,
was the
not
bitch
that
from last
bitch.
week's story.
No.
That's why because your wording in this is timing is everything, right? We only give each
Yeah.
other so much.
Oh,
cues
yeah,
that we're
good
gonna
point.
bring to the
Yeah,
table.
yeah.
So I was like, wait, no way. She was in the parking lot and Cult of Personality hit? God damn, why didn't you call me?
That's it. Not much.
You and I talked very much about you going to the last match, the musical wrestling thing. Your parents went, you said.
Yeah. They're going to
Which
see if
night
they
did
can
they
get me
go?
tickets. I'm going to go Saturday. They loved it. I walked in and they had the little flyer on there, and I saw there's 3 pictures, and Mickey James was the one that obviously I was like, yeah, that doesn't. And then Matthew Ronholt, however you say it.
Reinhold, yep.
Yeah, he was
Who
on
used
there.
to be Aiden English.
Aiden English from the Vaudevillains, yep. And then I look over and I see it's Simon Miller. I'm like, holy shit, Simon Miller's in this? And my mom goes, oh God, he was like the star of the show, literally and figuratively. Like, he was amazing. He was the best.
Why?
So, well, here's the fucked up thing. Here's the funny thing. I go, yeah, I used to watch him on this thing, What Culture? I'm like, let me just pop up a real video, and I was going to bring that up. So I just clicked the first video, and he's like, yeah, I'm just here in a random hotel in the USA, doing my tour on the last match. I'm like, what the fuck? So yeah,
Did you tell him about the bed? Did you tell him about the beds? How they could be
What?
in Rochester?
Oh yeah, no. That's only your sick, twisted mind. But yeah. So looking to go
that's really
Saturday.
cool.
Looking to go Saturday.
Well, I did see a former show
Yeah.
was a part of doing certain things, and they got interviews, as well as some pictures. Mickey James, looks great. I mean, I get you're with Nick Aldis. I'd still would be like, you busy at night? But besides that, in every one of the pictures, she looks blasted, like ripped out of her mind. And I want to say pretty high, not drunk. She just looks like I'm here, man. This is good. She just looks really. I've seen a lot of pictures of this chick with a lot of fans.
Right.
And every picture of her, she looked out of it. But I did see one douchebag who does the fattest duck face we've ever seen.
Mouth like anus.
Yes, and I don't know, whatever we talked about, that weird hand signal he does. And we're talking about Tiger. Look at, ladies and gentlemen, if you are newer to the show, and we have not mentioned, we've brought up Tiger a couple of times, but if you're like, who the fuck is he talking about? We call him Tiger Queen, kind of based off Tiger King, right? But this is a guy who is I don't want to call him a local wrestler. This is a local person-ish. I mean, person's too nice. All right, there's this douche, and he somehow is like 18 cousins deep related to you somehow.
Through marriage.
Right, and he, came to one of the shows, and this is the guy that was like, you guys got to get in the league. You got to get in our wrestling league. It's so fucking awesome. You get a wrestling championship when you win it, and you get to hold on to it until the entire next year. It's called the Kelly, and it has Tiffany Amber Thiessen on it. We're like, okay. And we entered, and within fucking one goddamn season, which was like a 12-week period, O.D.M. took the first fucking season.
Crushed it. Ran away with it.
Yep. And then I took the second, third, and fourth after that.
Second and third. I took the fourth.
That's what it was. Okay. We had a four-peat going. And that's when he called me the hard F-bomb word, and I'm not talking about fuck. And got all mad, and that's when I said, easy, son.
Easy,
and I was
son.
kicked out of the fucking wrestling league. Yeah, and and then you stayed in just to follow along for the last end of that part, just because he didn't kick you out. But where am I going with all this? Well, not only did I see fat duck lips on that fucking thing as well going to it, this motherfucker started some shit with a guy that I know. So there's a guy that I know through this guy Rob Sanderson, who I worked with on the pain clinic. He, his buddy John Ash, has made his way from working Pier 6 Wrestling, that one that I showed you that closed down in Syracuse that we went to and met AJ Styles, Bucks, all those guys. He works for GCW. He's made his way all across the country, and he works in Japan. He goes all over the place. He works with like your Nick Gage and that chubby looking guy that I can't think of his name that did a lot of the interviews for the Dark Side of the Ring when it came to GCW. Either way, Tiger on his podcast spoke apparently a little too loud and thought it wouldn't get back, and someone screen recorded that bitch and sent it right out on the old social media, where he said, and I quote, Tiger said, "The only reason I don't work for GCW is because of Ash, because he's the one that is preventing me from getting a job there." And when Ash and him were in the same vicinity at one point, Ash had to like comment on something about this. He goes, "This is the same dude that cornered me and said, I need you to get me booked on that one show." And he said, "Give me the guy's number, give me the number, give me the number." And then when I said I wouldn't give him the number, he said, "Well, pull him up on your phone and speaker and let me talk to him right now." That's what kind of fucking worker this fucking douchebag is. I don't even want to call him a worker. He's a twat. He's a piece of shit, to be honest with you. I swear to God. And guess what? We may have danced around it before. Your fucking house is filled with fleas, you fucking filthy fuck. All right, we're going to the wars.
Monday Night Wars! Who do you think was the mastermind behind The Undertaker abducting your little girl, Stephanie?
What? Oh, come on. No.
It was me!
Good God.
I knew if Daddy's little girl was in a weakened position that you would crumble. That you would leave the business like a hot potato, and I was there to pick up the pieces. How do you think The Undertaker got into our house? How do you think he got Stephanie's little teddy bear? How do you think that the pictures were taken?
It was Shane.
It was all me.
That's sick.
And Stephanie, who do you think picked out your wedding dress? Wasn't it the bomb?
What'd you say to me? You like working here? You keep your mouth shut. Robinson, you want to talk to her? Talk to her now.
I've got something to say to you. People from all over the world, from airport to airport, they ask me what my strategy against you at Slamboree is. You want to know what it is? I'm going to buy you a pack of gum, because everyone knows that a bimbo can't chew gum and walk at the same time. Yeah! What about it? From behind!
It's the Monday Night Wars. Go ahead, O.D.M.
Well, we're at May.
I swear to God. Hang on. First, I know I was a little fired up in that last promo about old Tiger. We're going to stop that there. But what I felt like when I was trying to think about how I wanted to come in, I felt like, I can't think of his name, but John Farru or whatever in PCU. This is George Clinton. So I felt like doing right here. I was like, this is the wars.
Well, you fucking nailed it.
Monday Night Wars.
It's May 3rd, 99. We'll start with Raw here. We get an opening, a video package from the first SmackDown ever. Oddly enough, on one of Cornette's last shows, he talked about the anniversary of that, and that he was on commentary with Michael Cole. And he goes, and apparently this was right around the time where Cornette was going to go back down south and I guess exit the WWE. And Cole goes to Cornette and says, well, what if we do if the show gets picked up, meaning SmackDown? And Cornette goes, well, I guess you're going to find another fucking commentator to work with. It was great. So the very first SmackDown is a pretty historic one because Shane McMahon forms the corporate ministry, which they kind of teased on the last Raw, but I mean, you know. On SmackDown, they had Austin and Rock versus Taker and Triple H. Vince came out to take Shane out, and Taker hit a pretty fucking brutal-looking heat shot with a chair to Vince. And then on Heat, the corporate ministry took out Mankind, Test, Shamrock, and Big Show. So, the show opens with the corporate ministry coming to the ring. We get a really long-winded promo from Shane, talking shit on the fans. Triple H cuts a promo on The Croc. They'll be facing each other at Over the Edge. Taker is next. He says he hates everyone. Me too. But Austin's name is on the top of the list. They're going to be facing each other for the title. Shane's going to be the ref again. Shane says, Vince, you got 2 hours to get to the ring. And then we get Mankind, Test, Shamrock, and Big Show to the top of the ramp. They all have 2x4s. Mankind mentions that they were all at one point working directly for Vince / the corporation. And they have formed a union. And we don't have a name like DX or these initials or these initials. We're the union of people you ought to respect. Actually, you know what? That does spell something. Up yours.
I loved it. It's kind of like the time we saw the thing for the evangelist, and it's like, did that just say eat me? The Dustin thing. And they never mentioned it again. But this one, he went right with it. Before I do forget, anybody out there who's like, oh, man, that was the first initial SmackDown 25 years ago. Close your eyes right now. What did it look like? Because it didn't look like what you think. There was not blue ropes. This was Monday Night Raw with the name SmackDown.
100%.
That was about, as it had a different intro. I went and watched it. I decided to toss it on to see what it looked like. And the intro was the SmackDown intro, the blue whatever. But it's everything that's taking place on Raw. It's all red rope backgrounds, of course. But when you get to the ring, it was just straight red. I was like, oh, so this is like just a primetime Raw with the name SmackDown to it. Because that's what I thought this was at the time. I didn't realize it was going to be turning into a cable show. I thought it was going to be like your new Saturday night's main event. SmackDown happens once every, quarter. But apparently not.
No, apparently not.
It was a show.
The rest, as they say, is history. So anyway, Up Yours surrounds the ring, Goodson, and the Heels Potter. Next, you get Billy
They
Gunn.
end up basically being called the Union, by the way.
Yes,
they
the
are
Union.
The Union.
Yep,
yes.
yep, absolutely.
But it's not Up Yours.
Yep. Billy Gunn versus X-Pac. Gunn has new solo music because on SmackDown, DX and the Outlaws disbanded and Billy Gunn turned heel. Billy Gunn.
Wait, you know what? Just for that exact moment, hit the music.
I'm a nice man. Yeah, I'm a nice man. I love to love him. I love to kick him. Love to show.
Not gonna lie, when it came to town around that year, or maybe the year after, WWF came to town. It was like just a live event. Yeah, I got me the Mr. Ass shirt back. 4 words. Check out my ass. I remember coming home. My mom's like, "What the fuck are you gonna do with that? You can't wear it anywhere." Wow, that didn't occur to me until right now. You're right. You can't go anywhere. Not even school. All right, so I guess at home.
Yeah.
So I wore it.
Let's see. Gunn gets the win. Gets a chair post match. Dog makes the save. Lights out. Kane to the ring. Yada yada. Well, corporate ministry comes to the ring again. Shane has
new music.
Well, yeah. Yep. It's kind of weird. Yeah,
it's a mix of the ministry.
Yep.
But you hear No Chance in the background.
Yep.
No Chance in Hell. It's
decent mashup.
These are some of the best years of music. I'm not gonna lie. The shit with Taker, like the corporate ministry or the regular ministry, and then the corporate. I liked all these themes.
Absolutely. Yeah, Jim Johnson was on his game. Shane's carrying a clipboard. And he says, "Throw away your programs." And then we see Vince, Stephanie, and Linda showing up to the arena. And Shane just starts changing the entire card. And at this point of the show, he books a lot, and there ain't a lot of time left. So they kind of got to scurry through this. So he books Bossman, Viscera, and Midian versus Test in a 4 corners match. A hardcore match between Mankind and the Acolytes. Triple H versus Shamrock with Chyna as the guest ref. Mean Street Posse versus Patterson and Briscoe. Big Show versus Taker. An evening gown match between Deborah and Sable. Lawler says, "I see puppies in my future." And then The Rock versus Austin. And Triple H whispers to Shane, as he has been throughout this whole thing, we need to increase the ante on that one. So the Rock-Austin match is going to be a lumberjack match. and the Lumberjacks will be the corporate ministry. And Shane says he's got one more slot to fill. And as he says that, Vince comes to the ring, followed by Linda and Stephanie with a couple policemen. Stephanie is dressed very nicely for Easter brunch. Shane wants to face Vince tonight.
She won.
Am I wrong?
It was the pink or purple blouse.
Yeah.
And the skirt she did.
They're pretty fucking awesome. And, so Shane says he wants to face Vince tonight. Vince says no, but if you won't listen to me or your sister, maybe I'll listen to your mother. And Shane tells Linda to shut up, and Vince grabs Shane, but the ministry surrounds him, so Vince and the family leave. And Shane tells Vince, you do it again. And he announces that he was behind Taker kidnapping Stephanie, and he breaks down every single aspect of it. How do you think he got the teddy bear? How do you think he got the pictures? How do you think he got inside the house? And he was behind it. It was him, Vince. It was me. And Vince can't handle it anymore. He runs into the ring, but he gets beat down, and the ministry leaves Vince laying. As the ministry heads to the back, Vince agrees to the match.
I have to say, let me actually ask first, how far into the show are we right now with the amount of matches he just named?
It's a 2-hour show. We're probably close to halfway. Actually, yes, we are very close to halfway because there's a couple short segments after this, and then it's Shane and Vince to top off what I guess would be the 9 o'clock hour at the time.
Yeah. So let me say this, that I like the approach. Nitro hasn't really, they're not telling you what's coming up in the later hour other than your main event.
Yep.
Right?
Yep.
They just showed all their cards. We're giving you this match. By the way, there's going to be some tits. We have this. They name everything out, and you're like, right before the top of the hour, you're like, fuck. That's a lot of good stuff. All my people are on tonight. All the roster I like. This, you know what I mean? Like, everybody's right there in this next hour. And if you're like, that's a lot of matches for that little bit of time, this is the Attitude Era, baby. We could do 2 matches in an entire segment before we have to do any commercial breaks.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the move of just telling everybody this is what we're doing for the night.
Mm-hmm. It worked out, and listen, they did a good job of giving everything the time that it needed. And you could sit here and say some of it, well, why did you do that? Because you only did this. I mean, in the end, I think it worked because it was a theme. Everything mattered, minus the titters. Fucking everything else fit into exactly what the big storyline is with all of its little branches off of it. So,
well, every week, things have to. Everybody's got to get their thing in. Every week, you got to find a way for Lawler to go puppies.
Yep, there's that too, especially nowadays. Well, those days. Vince tells Linda and Stephanie to go to the hotel. Then we get the Mean Street Posse versus the Stooges, and the Stooges just kick their ass, and then they get the win somehow. There was no pin or...
Yeah, by basically, the other guys just quitting. It wasn't really a pin or a submission. They just kind of quit. Crowd ate it up.
Oh, they were loving it.
Loved the shit out of it.
Oh, yeah.
If I'm not mistaken, this may be leading to eventually when they start coming out, and I think they're going to be using Hogan's Real American Music.
Oh. Best part is the Stooges fought in their suits. So,
dude,
Briscoe hit a nice side suplex.
Briscoe, that's what I was going to say. That, and then he also did an amateur wrestling type takedown.
It was a waistlock takedown. It was a waistlock takedown. Yep.
Yeah, awesome. Good shit. I actually liked the segment. I literally was smiling and I go, I remember this one.
Again, it was what it was, and it filled a segment, and it did what it was supposed to be. So far, the corporate ministry's plans of booking their own matches has failed. They're 0-1. Shane's in the back with the corporate ministry and tells them it's time to pay a visit to the office. After that, we get Test versus Midian versus Viscera and Bossman. It's a 4 corners match if you're not familiar. There's only 2 participants in the ring. You can tag anybody in, but obviously it's basically 3 against 1. And that's what happens because all 3 just get in the ring and it's a DQ. The Union makes the save. When we head to the back, we see the remainder of the corporate ministry assaulting Vince, walking out of his locker room, leaving him laying there. So technically, even though the ministry did get a beat down in on Test, they didn't win the match. So technically, they're 0-2. Next, you get Shane versus Vince.
Really good start.
Yep. Shane gets in the ring, cuts a promo on Vince. Obviously, Vince is beaten down, so he can't get to the ring. And Shane says, I knew you didn't have the grapefruits to show up. And JR goes, this kid needs an ass whipping. Shane says, all right, well, ref, he's not showing up. Raise my hand, declare me the winner. And then Vince stumbles out. Shane attacks him on the ramp, starts rolls him into the ring, bell rings, hits a Bronco Buster on Vince, starts beating the shit out of him. But Vince makes a comeback, hits a stunner on Shane, and gets the pin. And Vince, when he pins him, he hooks the leg, but he keeps spinning around. He does that spinning around thing with his feet as he's got the pin on.
Speaking of amateur wrestling, that's what it reminded me of because he not only hooked the leg, he put his arm under his head, so he was able to lock his
like
arms
cradle
together, which is very like your amateur wrestling type,
right?
And the spinning part it was hysterical to watch. But his stunner,
it wasn't
phenomenal.
It was pretty
to,
good.
obviously, the one he took at 38.
Yeah,
but he went like full blown, like drop down on his ass. It was a good looking stunner.
It was, yeah, really good. Big pop too. So, Corporate Ministries 0-3. Next, you get Mankind versus the Acolytes in a hardcore match. Bradshaw has a shovel, and Bradshaw, according to JR, Mark McGuire's Mankind's back with the shovel. Mankind, has his hope spots here and there, but ultimately the Acolytes overcome, hit him with a power bomb through 2 chairs, and get the win. So, there you go. Corporate Ministry gets their win. Next, you get Shamrock versus Triple H. China is your guest ref, looking pretty good. China pats down Shamrock and then basically says he's got a small cock.
So they have that in common.
There's that. China's might be bigger. It's basically China just interfering every chance she gets. It ends up with China hitting a low blow on Shamrock, pedigree 1, 2, 3. Quite possibly my favorite segment of the night. It's Big Show versus Taker. This match lasted maybe 2-3 minutes, and it ends with Undertaker cracking a baseball bat over Big Show's head. It gimmicked as hell, obviously. The way that bat fell apart, it was not real. You could see this nice straight line the Razor made that Big Show used on his forehead. It still looked cool as shit, and Big Show sold it well.
Sounded like real wood, and let me say that a giant chunk of it went flying into the audience.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple. I'm like, if it was real, that would have stabbed someone in the eye. Like, that's how it was. It came flying out there.
If it was real, the bat wouldn't have broken.
Really cool,
it would have killed Big Show.
No, man, he's a giant. He can take it.
That's true. It wasn't beefy enough of a bat.
Dude, Shawn Michaels tag teamed with God, okay, to take on Shane and Vince. So don't tell me what's possible and impossible. That was a real bat. Don't tell me.
I was there. Well, puppies are next. It's the nightgown match. Deborah comes to the ring. And Sable comes up on the Tron. She's at Hef's mansion for the second Playboy shoot, so she's not going to ruin her body. She's got a stunt double. And it's Nicole Bass. And Lawler just goes, yikes.
Not going to ruin my body. Well, one part of your body's getting ruined this weekend.
And Deborah doesn't want to get her ass kicked, and she's a dirty bitch, so she just took her dress off and stripped down to her bra and panties. It's like, all right, you win.
I was hoping to lose.
And then Nicole Bass comes out. Nicole Bass grabs her, and she kind of just keeps, like, holding her and, like, moving around the ring and getting into position. Jeff Jarrett comes in and he hits Nicole Bass in the head with the guitar. I had to pause it. I couldn't stop laughing.
It was a pretty good
Good
moment.
times. Attitude Era. Then Val Venus comes in. He takes out Jeff Jarrett and carries Deborah to the back. You got your main event. It's The Rock versus Austin. It's a lumberjack match. Big pop for The Rock. Austin's pop was still bigger, but a huge pop for The Rock. Lumberjacks come out, and Austin and Rock don't fight. They just go after the Lumberjacks. There's no match. The Ministry just beats them down. Vince comes out, and he sends the Union down there, and all the fucking baby faces just come pour out of the locker room, and it's just fucking chaos. There's bodies everywhere. They kind of start breaking up. It's Taker and Austin. They end up disappearing. You get Triple H and The Rock fighting at the top of the ramp. And then Austin comes up through the top of the ramp, the stage, and then Taker follows. And ultimately, Rock and Austin both get thrown off of the stage through tables. And the corporate ministry stands tall.
Oh, this was an Attitude Era off. That was.
It
everyone.
was. It was, and I enjoyed. The beginning was a bit plotting with Shane and his long-winded promos, but once he announced all the matches and we got them all, it was a fucking straight-up Attitude Era episode, and I loved every minute of it.
You would have. Okay, let's get on the Nitro.
Do we have to? This is a fucking shit show. It's a go-home show for Slamboree. We see Flair in the limo. He's on the phone with Charles Robinson. Driving right next to the limo is the mental hospital bus with all the patients in it, including Triple A. I don't know if we talked about Triple A last week. It was the guy that was hanging out with Flair the whole time. He called him Triple A instead of Double A.
Yep.
We get a recap of last week's splash intro, like 3 minutes in. There you go. Ricky Rackman's in the crowd doing the lead-in, saying that Flair signed Sting Goldberg for Slamboree. They're in Charlotte, North Carolina. We get our weekly smattering. We get a Flair recap. Rackman's with WCW race car driver Jerry Nadeau. 13 minutes in, we get a match. It's the Armstrong brothers versus Rey Mysterio and Kidman for the tag titles. Ray Kidman retain. Benoit and Malenko run in post-match. Raven Saturn run in, and it's a shit show. Next, you get the Cat versus Buff Bagwell. Cat cuts a promo, calls Buff Little Lady. And then the ring announcer, you see him in the back. He's like, oh, snap! Ono interferes, kicks Cat by mistake. Buff hits a blockbuster for the win. Cat chases Ono to the back. Flair's limb. Okay. This is the bulk of the show that you need to pay attention to. This is long-winded. Interrupt me when you need to. Flair's limo and the mental hospital bus arrives to the arena. That includes Double A and Triple A. And the Buff nurse. They head to the ring. Gene's there waiting for him. Flair says he's going to face Piper at Slamboree for control of WCW. The Buff nurse hugs Gene.
His face sold it all.
Gene follows it up by saying, yeah, he went from the White House to the Nut House. So Flair says he wants Savage and Gorgeous George and DDP and Sting and Goldberg. I want to talk to them all. Gene refers to Charles Robinson as Little Nature Boy. So we're getting there. Flair says tonight he's going to become world champ for the 15th time. Two times. We got that a couple times tonight. And he signed himself in a match against DDP for the title tonight. And then if you look off to the side, you see Little Nate checking out the Buff nurse's arms. He's like going up to him and she's like, yeah, here, let me flex for you right quick. Gene cuts to break and Flair says, don't cut to break, I'll be naked again. Gene goes, he can't take his clothes off. We see Macho, and he's got the three ladies with him. So he's got Gorgeous George, he's got Medusa, and then Miss Macho, or I think that's who it is.
Miss Madness, I think it was.
Miss Madness, something like that. It's
one of
It's the revival of Deborah's character from back in the day, but just associated with Macho, pretty much.
Fuck the revival.
Medusa got some new clothes.
Revealing.
Flair fires Macho, and he wants the police to come remove Macho and the ladies. Macho calls him a punk, and if you thought shit couldn't get any weirder, Dillinger and security come to the ring. Macho takes a couple out. Medusa head kicks one of them. Flair grabs Gorgeous George from behind around the waist and just pulls her into the corner. The cops and the security take Macho and Miss Macho away. Gorgeous George is still in the ring. And Lil Nate starts cutting a promo on her while Flair's still holding her around the waist and says, I'm going to buy you a pack of gum. You want to know why? Because everybody knows a bimbo can't chew gum and walk at the same time.
Again, no clue ever that he was doing these fucking promos. I didn't know anything about this shit. I remember Gorgeous George. I remember Macho. I remember the things with Little Nate. I did not remember this promo. I was losing it watching this. And I was like, I'll take 2 hours of this of Nitro or 3 hours. This will be better than everything else I've done.
This was the only good part of the show, and it was a shit show in itself. So Gorgeous George naturally clocks Robinson, and the buff nurse grabs George by the throat and lifts her up. It was an awkward scenario because the nurse missed her cue or she wasn't sure what to do. But she eventually lifts her off the ground by her throat, puts her down on the mat, starts choking her. Security comes in to get George out. And then Mean Gene just takes his fucking sports coat off and puts it around her back. I'm wondering if a titty popped out. Because what she was wearing is very possible.
And Gene the whole time was like, just remember who saved you. Remember this face. You remember me?
I like a dry martini. I'll see you at the bar at 8. Yeah, so, and then Flair just starts cutting a promo on DDP, Goldberg, and Sting, so Sting comes out. Flair's dripping buckets. He's sweating through his shirt at this point. Sting clocks Flair. Goldberg comes to the ring. Goldberg clocks Flair. Goldberg and Sting go at it. Security tries to break it up. They toss security out. They go back to brawling, and more security comes out and breaks it up. And there you go.
He's sweating buckets. He was out there for fucking nearly 30 minutes.
I know. Well, yeah, fucking, and he was hyped. He was amped up. He must have fucking saw Tony Khan before he fucking went out there. Next, you see Stevie Ray in the back talking with Flair, and I want to note something about this. What I did was we talked about Hennig's backstage interview where he was asked about Rick Rude, and he was pretty pissed off. And if you watch that interview, when it ends and he walks away and he says, hey, next time you want to ask me about stuff like that, talk to me first. And he kind of smacks him with the paper he was holding and walks away. Yep. It cuts to this. It cuts to Stevie Ray talking with Flair in the back.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So this is the show then.
Yeah, they just must have aired it later or not aired it during Nitro, or I don't know.
It was like an all access thing or something. I don't think they had anything really going like content wise on their
could have been for the website
at that point. Whatever. Yeah, but either way, it's funny because he even comes out and wrestles tonight too.
Well, and here's the thing. He talks about that match in that interview that happens tonight.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, Flair tells Stevie Ray, Nash is my only obstacle here. You know, I'm the president. I'm the most powerful man in the world. But you know what? Nash is my only obstacle. So I'll give you $100,000 if you deliver him on a table. Stevie Ray's like, fuck it. Yeah, let's go. Next, you get Hack vs. Bam Bam. It's a garbage match, literally. Shivani mentions Chastity isn't there. She must have gotten fired for the porno. More product placement. They have a huge Surge drink bucket in the ring that they use as a weapon. Mm-hmm. Knobbs interferes. It's a no contest, and Nick Patrick is the ref, and I didn't realize until they said his name at the end of the match because he has a rat tail and a Magnum P.I. stash.
I swear to God, I did a double take too, and I go, yo, when did Jake Roberts slim up that much to become a ref? It looked like it, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's fucking hilarious. Stevie Ray's with the black and white, and everybody's on board to take Nash out. And they all walk out of the locker room, and then you see somebody peek out from the bathroom stall in the locker room, And it's AAA. So I think they go to break there when they come back.
Giving, by the way.
He is. Well, because as we come back from break, we see him running around backstage through the halls, and he runs past Kevin Nash. He's like, "Oh, hey, I just gotta let you know. I heard that they're gonna take you out tonight. Flair told them they got to take you out tonight." And then he just runs away. And Nash is like, "What the fuck did that? What just happened here?" You get Conan versus Horace Hogan next. Conan cuts a promo before the match, and he says, "I dare the NWO to rush the ring. I got my back up in line." Well, guess what happens? The NWO rushes the Black and White, and Kevin Nash makes the save. Power bombs Vincent. Black and White jump Nash, but he clears the ring, and got a big pop for this. Everybody was happy to see out there Nash making the save for Conan. So it's something.
Yeah. Although he just kicked him out of the group 4 or 5 weeks before this.
4 or 5, okay. Yeah, pretty much. There was a sign sighting. I did put this in the notes. I liked it. The sign said, "This ain't no jive turkey," with an arrow pointing down.
I missed that one. That was a good one.
We get a random fucking, 10, 15 seconds of Teddy, one of the mental patients, because he has a teddy bear, in the production truck, and everybody going, "What the fuck are you doing in here? Get out." That's it. Next, David Flair and Tori reunite with Ric Flair. And Rick thanks David for committing him. Says, "It was fucking, I needed that. That was good. I appreciate you, son." Mad Rosacea. Got that little white spot, too, right in the middle.
It's funny because speaking of keeping on, terms of, being, friends with someone or not, here we go. Well, they just reunited again. Didn't you just cost your father everything? And all of a sudden, son, thank you. I appreciate it. We're back together. Storylines are very wishy-washy right now.
Well, there's some reasoning behind it, because Rick tells David, "You know what? You always wanted to wrestle. Well, guess what? I got you a match tonight. And I'll tell you what, Charles Robinson's going to be the ref." And David's like, all right. He no-sold it, but he seemed excited. I think that was what they were trying to convey. As they walk away, Tori gives Rick the stink eye. Yeah, I know. Right. Takes away the facial expressions. Tori gives Rick the stink eye, and as they walk away, Rick tells Double A, "Book him with Meng." Yes. We go backstage. We see, what were those big SUVs Ford did? The Expeditions? Yeah, it was an Expedition. Yeah. It was an Expedition limo. And it was just Piper.
Good use of money.
It was just Piper. He's looking for the Oval Office. Piper ends up in Flair's office, which is littered with the mental patients. And the cop tries to arrest Piper, and Piper bitch slapped this cop. Bitch slapped this cop. It was brutal.
It was awesome.
It was brutal. Piper goes after Flair, puts a reality check shirt on Flair. Then a guy walks in, "Catering, Mr. Piper." And he's just carrying a fucking tray full of ice and drinks, which Piper just dumps on Flair. You want some insight into what this was like with all those mental patients being, quote unquote mental patients, obviously, but in the room while this was all going on. When I was a kid, my mom took me to the Waring Theater to see White Man Can't Jump. And they brought basically a busload of mental patients to watch that movie. Didn't go well. That's basically what this sounded like.
Try and take the high road on this. I have so many questions.
I agree with you. We can talk about it afterwards. Have you seen my baseball?
How was the ride back home with all of them?
My mom said they were my cousins. I don't know. Seemed fine. Flair sees Scott Steiner in the hallway. He wants him to go after Nash. He's freaking out. Then, the fucking what the fuck moment of the night, we see Lex Luger and Liz at the podium about to address the nation. Lex pulls out, is fucking all dressed to the nines. Lex pulls a piece of paper out of his fucking coat, starts opening it. The feed starts cutting out. They cut away to the ring, and Schiavone's like, "Well, we got technical difficulties." They must have realized they left their pills at home. I don't know.
And they never, ever come back
to it.
That was it.
Yeah, that's it. Yep.
You know what? We got to cut this whole thing short. I forgot I didn't take my meds. She hasn't taken her several doses. We got to go back.
Must be. Scott Steiner's in the back. He finds Buff, beats the shit out of him. He says, Slamboree boy, I'm going to kick your ass. All right. Mang versus David Flair. As Mang's making his entrance, we have the Nitro Girls and the Mental Patients on the ramp just dancing during Mang's entrance. And
Couldn't
Mang
tell who was
just
who.
destroys. Yeah. Mang just beats the shit out of David. Ric Flair comes out. Tori's jawing at him. He starts fucking wiggling he starts doing the airplane to her. Luckily he had pants on. And David gets stretchered out and Ric Flair's just taunting him the whole time. Gene's in the ring with DDP, compares himself to Wayne Gretzky and says, Flair, to be the man, yada yada. Next, you get Kurt Hennig versus Booker T for the TV title. This is in the interview with Hennig that we just referenced. He's asked initially about this match. Because Hennig's saying, everybody talks about what a great athlete Booker T is. Anything that he can do, I can do better. That's basically the promo that he's cutting before he gets asked about Rick Rude. Stevie Ray and Rick Steiner interfere. And then at the end, Rick Steiner has his arm around Booker T's neck. And I don't know if he was doing the, I'm your best friend, or if he was pissed off at him. I couldn't tell, and I didn't bother to find out.
It was like more of a, I got your back.
I love you, bro. Okay. It was over the top. Next, you get two random cops getting a phone call saying, oh, the mental patients didn't sign releases. We got to round them up. All right, let's break out, son. That's the segment.
You let him roam free all this time, and now you're thinking about rounding him up?
Yeah. Well, next is your main event, Ric Flair DDP World Title. Robinson is your ref. Macho and George come out to the ring. George comes in, starts grabbing Flair by the heat and powders. Charles Robinson chases her down. DDP gets the knucks from Macho. Hits him while he's in the figure four, gets the pin. Scott Dickinson runs in to make the count. 1, 2, 3. DDP retains. Shivani says, have a good night, everybody. Heenan says, buzz off. Correcto.
I like it better when Heenan signs off.
Buzz off.
Well, that's right. We got Slamboree coming up. So we'll see how that all plays out, as well as more with the rest of the new corporate ministry. But now, as you've all been waiting for, it began in June with, well, it was supposed to be Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, and you just couldn't stop talking.
I know.
So we only did Better Call Saul, then we did Breaking Bad. Let's get into the movie of the week topic. The movie El Camino, a Breaking Bad story. It starts with a very subtle, dark, caving in. I was just fucking with you. All right, I said I was going to make it a long one this week when it comes. Well, again, we did the length of the shows in the length of the shows. Look at
pretty much
not a whole lot we really got to cover because we actually did cover some of the things in here, some of the cool Easter eggs when we were hitting up the other two shows. Like the fact that Mountain Man, the guy that Mike offers the gun to after taking out the guy who plays the voice for Trevor, he ends up being the hooker's John, or I'm sorry, not John, pimp, if you will, or security guy, at least going when, towards the end of the movie there. But the whole thing is Jesse surviving. It's all about, we've seen what happens with Walt. We assume he's dead. And in the beginning of the movie, it confirms that he is dead because you hear it on the radio.
Yes.
And it says it, and another local woman, which is Lydia. She had the stevia crap.
Hello, Lydia. Oh, Lydia. Okay, yeah. I thought you meant the neighbor. Yeah, yeah. My bad.
That's Carol. Hello, Carol.
He
did the same thing with Lydia. But the first place Jesse goes to, man, and I love it. Like, look at you get a lot of cameos of people in this. Mike is the very beginning. He's talking to him about going to Alaska. It's the very first beginning of the movie before you even see Jesse trying to escape, which is a part of him leaving at the end of Breaking Bad. And the other cameos later in the end of the movie, you get Jane, where she's talking to him, where they're just standing around smoking. They have the moment where, after, I believe, God, I'm not sure which one it is. Maybe when they couldn't get the battery started and they had all that issues and they were out there for so long. I'm not sure which one it is, where they end up going into a hotel for a night, and then you see Walter
They're
there
at the
and they're
Denny's.
having breakfast.
Yeah.
I love it. And he's like, the first thing you should do is you should get your GED. Why? I have my diploma. You were on stage, dick. That shit just makes me laugh. He's like, oh yeah, you did. Okay. But there's a couple of small things I have an issue with this in the movie. Maybe Todd was in the middle of making another movie. But if you were trying to make it look like it was in real time, did Todd have to look like he ate Todd?
Right.
That was my only complaint, I guess.
Because he's dead and bloated.
Yeah. They finding the money in the apartment.
Fridge.
I love the scene where but how they do the camera shot above, where it looks like a mouse going through a maze, looking through everything in the house, ripping it apart. Vince Gilligan, nobody can, and was it Peter Gould or whatever? Nobody can do cinema the way
Very
they do.
good with
It's
their
just,
camera shooting.
a movie would be,
Yeah.
if they did a movie, it's just like, that's it. Come on, you got to do more. Like that's why they're good at series. But I did like, when he does get out, goes to Badger and Skinny Pete's. And the other thing I don't like about the movie, the trailer that we all saw, where Skinny Pete is getting interrogated, is not in the fucking movie. How do you not put that in the movie? You got him flushing the drugs and going down all the thing after they switched papers for the car. I always wanted me a Camino. That's church.
Yeah.
I love Skinny Pete. He's the best.
Well,
Him
and
Badger,
here,
it's fun.
you do get a great scene with Skinny Pete. He takes the hat off.
Yeah, for the protection. And he's like, why are you doing it? He's like, you're my hero and shit, man.
Yep.
And I love it, man. It's his moment. And it's his last moment. Maybe that's why you did it only in the trailer, because that was a way to send off Skinny Pete right there. You didn't need him in any other way. And Badger, same thing. He just goes adios right there and leaves. It's funny. He's like, oh, he's a clown car. Nobody respectable can be caught in that shit. Him being on that rat thing and pulling him back and forth, not rat thing, or like the
tethered. He was tethered.
Wire.
Yeah.
To find out that guy is the guy who pretended to be the cop was kind of fucking crazy, and then going all the way to the end. You know who I imagine Tony Khan is? The guy who holds the coke in that shootout, who went in the corner and just held it up. He's like, oh shit, now what? I love the fake out with the little, was it like a
22 or something? Yeah.
Yeah.
Pea shooter in his pocket.
The other one the whole time. But then because he did that, dude, you're on fire. the one guy when he's leaving. I thought it was a very well done movie. As soon as it was over, we both, like my wife and I, went satisfied. You didn't do anything. Nothing leaves me with any questions. Saul, look, you took the rap at the very end of it, right? That's what we find out.
Yeah, Saul, yeah.
This part technically takes place in between, before Saul actually gets caught and all that shit, right? He in his thing, he's like, Pinkman could still be out there. At this point, at the end of this, we see him go to Alaska, and he leaves a letter for Brock. And we get one of our final scenes with, what's his name, man? Robert Foster? His name?
Robert Forster. Yep.
Forster. That was one of his last things he did before he died.
Yeah, I believe it was the last thing he did.
Breaking Bad and El Camino.
Yep.
Damn. I thought they did a great job tying it all together. It was just very well done. It was like an hour and a half, 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Could I have wanted more? I'm sure there's a lot more left on the cutting room floor. Any of us would have taken the extended director's cut, or whatever. But I like what they did.
Yeah, this movie, from what I saw, got a lot of hate for some reason. I'm not sure why. This was, you got to figure Breaking Bad ended, and it was like, all this shit happened with Jesse. I mean, everything that he went through that entire, it was one tragedy after another. And sure, you could say, well, he got free finally. He's free finally. And Walter's dead, so he's free finally. You want a little bit more than that. So this was a nice way to wrap up his story. Maybe that was some of people's complaint. Yeah, Todd definitely was about 100 pounds heavier in this one. But I liked it because it gave you more insight into what happened between Ozymandias and the last episode of Breaking Bad, because that's basically like a lot of time passed during those episodes. The last two episodes of Breaking Bad, a lot of time passed in between those. So to get to see him actually really get a real resolution, like this kid went through so much, the drug addiction alone, and to watch him be somewhere just far away. And, it was satisfying. And the thing with, what's her name? I always forget her fucking name. The girl that fucking OD'd in Breaking Bad.
Jane.
Jane. I was going to say June. I knew I was wrong. Bertha Faye. It ends with an interaction that they had in the car when they went to visit the museum in Breaking Bad, and he's driving in the car and he thinks about it, and it was just a nice little send-off. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was good. He had an opportunity to kill Todd. He didn't. That whole moment where he was looking for the money and he finally found it and the fake cops come in, to me, that was just a continuance of his consistent fuck-ups throughout the series. Because he was always, you'd be like, oh, he's on the right path. Oh, no, he fucked up. He's on the right path. Oh, no, he fucked up. Oh, he found the money. Oh, no, he fucked up. Right? Because if he's a fugitive...
he thought it was the cop.
Yeah.
Especially because he goes, hey, sheriff, you want to come in here? And obviously he's not a cop, so he knew to come in there ready to go.
Right.
But what I liked was when he goes, you're going to have to kill me, but then you got to kill the old nosy neighbor out there. Like, he finally wised up. He knew, how to smarten that part. That, and to be honest, my favorite is when he does go to the vacuum thing. I'm like 95% sure you're the guy, okay? Like, I know. I don't know, it's like a filter, a Hoover, something. I don't fucking know, okay? Yep. Oh, shit. And we even get old Joe, Junkyard Joe, the guy that
does the
magnet thing. He gets him for a couple of minutes in there. He even, he brings back the old magnet thing. Oh, carjacker went off. I gotta go. I'm out. It's a fuzz. It had for anybody who did shit on it, I don't know, man, had the right amount of cameos and the right amount of everybody in it. I didn't need everybody. I mean, what'd you want? An interaction with Hank? He's dead.
Right.
Like, everybody that needed to be there was gone and dead. And if they were alive, they made their way in. I love that they brought the two friends in there. Would I have liked more with Badger and Skinny Pete? Selfishly, yes, because I like their comedy shtick. But at the same point, this isn't that movie.
You fucking nailed it. Yeah, you fucking nailed it. Exactly.
Well, next week, we have what I think is going to be a fun topic. It's kind of one of those ones where I like to do my lists. And I'm only doing it at 20, O.D.M. We are doing the top 20 general managers of all time. You're probably like, how is that
I don't
possible?
think I can name 20.
Well, you aren't as good a fan as I am.
Sure.
I would have been to that last match performance thing already by now.
Yeah, well, I'm not a mark.
I would have touched Mickey James by now.
You look...
that's true. I would have had the cops at my door already saying, hey, no, never mind. Hey, but next week we do have the top 20 general managers, plus we're going to have the Monday Night Wars. Slamboree we'll be talking about, and thankfully no pay-per-views in real life. At least that works out as well. So, hey, we will be back. I am the Professor. As always, I bid you a farewell. He's O.D.M. It gets weirder each time, but let's see. This week are his final thoughts.
Thanks, Professor. We've talked a lot of shit about AEW lately, and rightfully so, but I think it's time to give a little bit credit where credit is due. Everybody's clowning them for airing the CM Punk interview, or the footage from Wembley, and even though it was just an overhyped segment to draw numbers and put over the match between them and FTR and bring Jack Perry back into the fold, they're starting to put something on TV that's drawing eyes. Even my cynical ass wants to to tune in to see what's going to happen next in this captivating story. So let's give him a little bit of a break and let's just appreciate the great job that he's done as of late. Actually, you know what? Never mind. He's still a fucking coked up rich kid.
I was getting real close to getting upset.
The Top of Wrestling Podcast is brought to you by The Top of Wrestling Podcast. Your hosts are the Professor Mark Fantasia and O.D.M. the Doc Joe Rizzo. Feel free to reach out to the show by email at thetopofwrestling@gmail.com, on their Facebook page, Twitter page, Instagram page. Remember to subscribe, like, and share. You can listen to the show on most popular platforms, including iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, Amazon Music, Pandora, and YouTube. Without your continued support, it would be just some guys talking wrestling, which is pretty much what it is anyway. Good night, folks. Brain's working great.
Did you go visit the homeless man before you got recording here?
He wasn't there today. Wheezy met him. He actually walks out. We actually walk out of the gas station. He's like, "So that's the homeless guy?"
That just made it. That's the best. Oh, fuck. That just literally turned my day around right there. All right, let's get this going.